Hello everyone, welcome back to KXAN Live. I'm your anchor Esmeralda Zamora and we want to wish everyone a happy holiday this week. With me to talk about the holidays today is our KXAN Eric Henriksen, our space expert. Whoa, that camera's a little...
I am so short right now.
We'll fix that, but how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you? Happy holidays. Happy holiday week. Everyone's on vacation. It's kind of a nice week for things.
Yes, such a jolly week. And today we have a jolly topic, right? What's going to tell us about what we're going to talk about today?
Holidays in space. Look at that. Some of our favorite astronauts enjoying the holidays, and a diverse set of holidays at that. It's really cool. I think we don't think often enough about how we celebrate the holidays when you're not on the planet, and astronauts have to do that just as much as we do. They're up there year-round on the International Space Station. They've been doing it for 1968. I'm doing math real quick in my head. Decades! They've been doing it for decades in space, but now we've been out there on the International Space Station year-round for a while, and so holidays in space are pretty common, and just something we probably don't think about very often.
Yeah, and you said they've been doing it since 1968. I'm sure they've come up with their own traditions, their own form of decorating, right?
Right. So the very first one was Apollo 8, and it went around the moon. It was an orbit around the moon, and it happened over Christmas. So the astronauts who were on board, Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, William Anders, they spent a lot of time orbiting the planet, orbiting the moon. They were like, hey, let's do some holidays while we're up here. They got to celebrate by reading from the book of Genesis. There was an audience of 1 billion people listening to them do their read, which is pretty insane. Back then, think about back in the 60s, how many people paid attention to space travel and how little we do it now to some degree. You know, we don't see these holiday messages you're seeing. These are the holiday messages that people aboard the International Space Station send out every year. We're not all seeing those as much as we did in 1968 when 1 billion people watched these astronauts circle the moon. So pretty wild they did that then. In 1973, Skylab got to celebrate also. Now, Skylab was an early space station that we had orbiting the planet. I don't know if you know much about Skylab, but it was just kind of one of the very first space stations we had. And when it orbited the planet, it was, I mean, I've actually been inside a model of it, and it's really, really small. It's basically like a shed. But they happened to be on board, and they got to celebrate with a handmade Christmas tree and did some festive activities. And they made it through Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. For Thanksgiving, they actually used the leftover boxes to build the tree from their Thanksgiving meal. So Thanksgiving meal became the Christmas tree.
That's cute.
Really, really cute. The Russians have been up there in space just as long, actually longer than Americans have, but they didn't celebrate a holiday until 77, 78. Now for that, they did New Year's. So I was reading into this, so Christmas in Russia isn't as big of a deal as it is here, but New Year's is. So they celebrated 77 to 78 aboard Salyut 6, I believe is what it is how you say it. I actually took Russian in college. I should be able to do that. Salyut 6. I maybe did a little French. My Duolingo is taking me different directions on it. They did a toast then. So they've done that. And then they also aboard Mir, which was their space station, their early space station. Kind of a prelude to International Space Station, but a postlude to the Skylab experiment. So Mir, they celebrate several holidays on there, including when NASA astronauts got to visit, which is pretty interesting.
And they celebrate starting from Thanksgiving, like you mentioned, in space, all the way to the New Year. Imagine being up there as it turns into the New Year and you're staring at the moon. That's crazy.
I think about like the International Space Station. One thing that's really cool about the International Space Station is it circles the Earth multiple times a day. So you get multiple sunrises a day. So do you get to celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving multiple times during that day? I don't think they do, but it would be if I was up there.
I would
think about
it
dinner.
at least.
Yeah, you can't plan it. Okay, sunset's happening. Let's eat Thanksgiving dinner. Oh no, sunset's happening again. Let's eat it again. Same thing with the Christmas dinner. That's how we did in my family. As sunset happens, that's when we get to eat. Thankfully, in the winter, it happens earlier.
I'm sure they'd run through all of their food products if they did that.
I hope they plan for that. I hope that's part of the planning is, hey, we're going to eat a ton during the holidays. Let's make sure they have all the food stuff up there to make it through. But as you see in the video, they have stockings, they have Santa hats, they have Christmas trees now. They have the whole shebang to really celebrate the holidays in different ways. And some of those astronauts look thrilled. But yeah, they get presents. I mean, they get the whole thing. It's just the holidays in space, which is really fun. Other cool things, they did the first Hanukkah in 1993. They got their first Jewish astronaut to celebrate Hanukkah. That was aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour. They brought a menorah and a dreidel on board, which is, if you know anything about dreidels, you spin it and it falls over, and that's how it ends.
Not up there.
In space editing, they just keep spinning, so pretty funny. Space Shuttle Discovery crew celebrated Christmas with festive foods and repairs to the Hubble telescope in 1999. That's a great way to celebrate. Let's do some work. Keep busy. But we've been up there since 2000 aboard the International Space Station. So every year we're celebrating the holidays as a group. There was a poem read in naval tradition by Commander William Shepard in 2001. In 2019, there was Hanukkah socks on display aboard Expedition 61, where they also recorded their holiday greetings. And then the Chinese astronauts have also celebrated. In 2022, they celebrated New Year's Day and Lunar New Year aboard the Shenzhou 13 crew. That's aboard the Tiangong space station, which we don't talk often about, but we probably should more often, but they have their own space station up there. They're not part of the International Space Station endeavor as the Russians and Americans are in other countries. And then they celebrate with New Year's wishes on 2023. So they do some really cool stuff over the years. They do unlit menorahs, they do space-friendly Christmas trees. They don't do bread in the traditional sense in space because it tends to crumble, so they'll do tortillas. So they get to celebrate same way we do, just a little different. But I do a weird Christmas every year. I do unusual Christmases with my family. We dress up in different things. This year we're dressing up for the cast of Twister.
Oh.
And my mom built a giant tornado in the middle of the living room. I don't know why we're doing Twister this year. That's the one they picked. Last year we did like a Western theme. One year we did Jurassic Park. They turned the entire house into Jurassic Park. We get silly with the holidays. We've done a lot of them together, so we have to mix it up. But next year maybe we can do space. We can do Christmas in space. That'd be a really fun way to celebrate.
That would be funny, and it would go great with everything that you know about space. So I'm sure you'd bring together a great outfit.
I'd probably be a little nerdy about it and keep, what during dinner. Well, did you know that the whole time? But my whole family is a did you know family, so a lot of fun facts to be thrown around that table.
Well, this is awesome. It's nice to know that the holidays are being celebrated amongst the stars, and these astronauts are not missing out on any celebrations.
They get in on the celebration just as much as us. Would you like to celebrate Christmas in space? Would you do it?
I would, at least one time in my life. I'm a Christmas baby, so I think that'd be an awesome birthday gift.
You get birthday and Christmas in space. I think that's an excellent gift. Maybe we'll see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, hopefully one day.
One day.
Well, thanks so much for joining me, Eric. It was a pleasure to have you here. We're excited to hear what you have for next week for Space Base.
Absolutely, me too. Merry Christmas.
And that's all we have today on the Space Base. Remember, we have more streams happening later this week through the end of the week, so we'd love for you all to join us. And again, happy holidays. Thank you.